Chosen one, pause for a moment, not to prepare for something dramatic, not to brace yourself for a warning. Just pause, because what you are feeling right now is not confusion, it is transition, and transition always feels strange before it feels clear. You've been asking yourself questions you never used to ask. Why does this feel different? Why don't I want the same things anymore? Why does my old life feel distant, even when nothing has changed on the outside? You are not lost. You are being repositioned. God is not removing you from life. He is moving you into alignment. For a long time, you survived by adapting. You adjusted to what was required. You learned how to be strong without support. You learned how to carry responsibility early. You learned how to keep moving even when your heart needed rest. That version of you is necessary, but it is no longer required. This season is not about becoming more it is about becoming honest. Honest about what drains you. Honest about what you've outgrown. Honest about what you were never meant to carry. You're not weak for feeling tired. You're waking up. There is a difference. When awakening begins, the old strategies stop working. What once motivated you no longer satisfies you. What once distracted you no longer holds you. That can feel unsettling, but it is also sacred. God often removes the appetite for things before He reveals the next direction, because if He showed you too early, you might rush ahead without healing. So He slows you down first, not to punish you, but to protect you. You may feel like life is quieter right now, less noise, less drama, less urgency. That's not emptiness. That's space. Space for clarity. Space for truth. Space for God to speak without competition. You don't need to fill this space. Let it do its work. Some of the discomfort you feel isn't pain, it's shedding. You're shedding expectations that were never yours. You're shedding timelines that pressured you. You're shedding identities built around survival. And yes, shedding can feel lonely, not because God left, but because noise left. Silence feels unfamiliar when you've lived in chaos, but silence is where alignment begins. God does not rush transformation. He allows it to unfold. That's why this season doesn't feel dramatic. It feels subtle, internal, quietly intense. You may notice your reactions changing. You pause before responding. You walk away from things you used to engage in. You choose peace even when ego wants the last word. That's not avoidance. That's maturity. You are no longer driven by the need to prove. You are guided by discernment. And discernment often looks like stillness. There were seasons where God pushed you forward. This is a season where He pulls you inward, not to isolate you, but to stabilize you. Before God expands your life outward, He anchors it inward. You cannot build on shaky identity, so He strengthens the foundation first. You might feel like you're standing between two versions of yourself. The old one no longer fits, the new one not fully visible. That in-between place can feel uncomfortable, but it is also powerful, because this is where intention replaces impulse. This is where faith becomes personal, borrowed. This is where your voice becomes quieter but stronger. You don't need to announce what God is doing in you. You don't need to explain your process. Growth doesn't need permission. Those meant to understand will understand. Those meant to leave will leave. Those meant to arrive will arrive at the right time. God handles timing better than anxiety ever could. You are not falling behind schedule. You are being protected from arriving unprepared. Some doors did not open because you were not ready to stand in them as yourself yet. God cares more about who you become than what you achieve. That's why He allows seasons where nothing seems to move. Stillness builds integrity, and integrity carries weight. Soon, you will notice that clarity comes without forcing it. Decisions feel simpler. Paths feel less crowded. You won't feel rushed to choose. You'll feel confident waiting. That's when you'll know the shift is complete. Until then, Let go of the pressure to figure everything out. You are not required to solve your life. You are invited to walk with God through it. The season is not asking you to try harder. It is asking you to trust deeper, not blindly, but calmly. You are not missing anything meant for you. What is yours will not require panic to obtain. It will meet you in peace. If this message resonates, don't rush away from it. Let it settle. Truth that settles slowly stays longer. Stay connected. Not out of fear, but out of alignment. There is clarity ahead. There is peace forming. There is direction unfolding. And it will make sense. Without you having to force it. You are not lost. You are exactly where growth happens. Chosen one, now that you know you are being repositioned, there is something important your heart needs to understand. Repositioning does not feel like progress at first. It feels like pause. It feels like uncertainty. It feels like standing still while the world keeps moving. But standing still is not the same as being stuck. Sometimes God holds you still because movement without clarity creates damage. You are learning something rare in this season: how to listen without rushing, how to trust without controlling, how to exist without constantly proving your worth. That is not weakness. That is grounding. For a long time, your value came from effort, from showing up, from holding everything together. But effort-based identity always leads to exhaustion. God is teaching you identity-based living, where you move because you are secure, because you are afraid to fall behind. That's why certain desires are fading. Not because you failed, but because they no longer fit who you are becoming. You don't need to grieve everything you outgrow. Some things were only meant to carry you part of the way. There is also something else happening. Your discernment is sharpening. You can feel when something is off. Even if you can't explain it, you can sense when a door is forced versus aligned. You can tell the difference between peace and distraction now. That's growth. God is preparing you for a life where choices matter more than speed. Soon, you will notice that fewer things pull at you. Less chaos enters your space. Less noise sticks to your spirit. Not because life gets smaller, but because your focus gets clearer. And clarity is protection. You are entering a season where you don't react as much. You respond. Where you don't chase. You choose. Where you don't explain yourself. You stand steady. This version of you does not need approval. It needs alignment. And alignment always brings peace before it brings visibility. If you feel quieter lately, that's intentional. If you feel more inward, that's intentional. If you feel less rushed, that's intentional. God is anchoring you. So when movement comes again, you won't be shaken by opinions, pressure, or fear. I'll then remain grounded. You don't need to hurry this process. Nothing meant for you is leaving without you. And when the next step becomes clear, you will move with confidence, not anxiety. You are not paused by accident. You are positioned with purpose. Stay steady. Clarity is closer than you think.